In 2016, a movie based on one of the biggest video game franchises ever made itself way to cinemas. Warcraft! Critics absolutely destroyed it, giving it terrible reviews, but the fans of World of Warcraft and the wider Warcraft universe actually really loved it. Let's consult the tomato meter, shall we? Critics gave this movie 29%, whereas the fan rating gave it 76%. There is a 47% difference between the critics and the fans. There's also some quick maths, as Big Shaq would say. So how can the same movie be considered a disaster by critics and a success by fans? It just seem to clash with each other. Well, welcome to Popcorn Programming. Today we are breaking down the divide between the critics and the fans to answer one question. Was Warcraft actually a bad movie or just misunderstood? Pap pap! So let's begin with looking at why the critics panned Warcraft. Reason number one is that they say the story was overloaded with lore. Critics argued the film tried to cram too much world building into just one film, which, given that the Warcraft universe has decades of lore, is probably a fair assessment. The film attempted to explain humans versus orcs, the magic systems within the Warcraft universe, multiple kingdoms, political alliances, the portals between the worlds, many more things. For the critics who were unfamiliar with the franchise, it felt really confusing and quite rushed. Reason number two was that the human characters felt quite weak. Many reviewers felt that the human characters were bland and forgettable compared to the orcs. You had characters such as Anduin Lothar and Garona Halfison, who didn't resonate as strongly as the orc storyline. Ironically, critics actually said that the CGI characters were way more interesting than the actual real-life humans. Reason number three was the uneven tone throughout. The movie struggled to balance the dark fantasy, war genre, epic fantasy adventure that comes with World of Warcraft, and tried to add in some moments of humour throughout. This tonal inconsistency made the film feel emotionally uneven for critics, and that made it difficult for them to connect with it. Reason number four was that it tried way too hard to set up sequels. Critics felt that the film was clearly designed to launch a longer, bigger franchise, meaning the story often felt like setup rather than a complete narrative, which led to some plot threads feeling unfinished because they were clearly meant for future films. And reason number five was that it felt like a video game film. At the time, you have to remember this is back in 2016, video game adaptations still had a bad reputation. Many critics viewed the film through the lens and felt that it relied way too heavily on CGI spectacle, focused on nothing but fan service, and lacked broader emotional appeal. I mean, it's not totally fair to judge a movie based on the crapness of films not related to it, but it is an understandable reason. However, now let's explore some reasons why fans loved World of Warcraft, and wouldn't you know it, we have 5 reasons for them as well. Reason number one of those 5 is how faithful it was to the Warcraft universe. The fans of the World of Warcraft appreciated how closely the movie followed the actual lore. The film adapted elements from the original Warcraft storyline, in particular the First War between the humans and the orcs. For the long-time players, it felt like seeing the game world brought to life, which they greatly appreciated. Reason number 2 was the surprising depth the orcs were given. One of the biggest strengths of the movie was the orc characters, especially Doroten and the Origim Doomhammer. Fans loved how the film portrayed the orcs not as monsters, but as complex characters, fighting to survive, making the war between them and the humans all the more interesting. Many viewers felt the orc storyline carried the entire film. Number 3 is the incredible visual design. The visuals impressed the fans. The CGI used for the orcs was widely praised for its facial detail, the motion capture performances and the realism, and given the current state of CGI in some of the big blockbuster films, this is a huge plus for Warcraft. Good job, golden stars all round. Many fans felt it captured the look and scale of the Warcraft universe perfectly. Reason number 4 is all the Easter eggs that were in the film. Long-time fans had great time spotting references to the games, including some iconic weapons, locations from Azeroth, and a lot of references to major lore events. These details rewarded people who spent years in that game world, dissecting it all, absolutely eating a diet built purely around World of Warcraft. You know who would have loved this? The characters from South Park during that Make Love Not Warcraft episode. They'd have loved Warcraft. And that brings us to reason number 5, and that was that it truly felt like Warcraft. Perhaps the biggest reason the fans liked the film was quite simple. It felt authentic. The world, the races, the magic, and the conflicts captured the tone and the spirit of the games, which mattered way more to fans than the traditional storytelling structure. So maybe the truth about Warcraft lies somewhere in the middle. For critics, it was an overloaded fantasy moving with confusing lore, but for fans of World of Warcraft, it was something far rarer, which was a video game adaptation that actually seemed to respect the world it came from. Maybe that's the real divide between the critics and the fans. Sometimes a movie isn't made for everyone. Sometimes it's made for people who already love the world. And there you have it, there is our look at critics versus fans. Warcraft edition! So what do you think? Have you seen Warcraft and what did you think? Let us know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button if you're new around here. That's all for now, so I'd like to thank you for watching and we'll see you later. Pop pop!